I'm excited about coming back. Oh no, should I say this? I want it to be a surprise, but I'm coming back to India in December. Oh, I thought everyone would be excited about that. Never mind.
I was waiting for you to say for a tour, but
New York is like a gym. It's like a comedy gym. Like you just, and a lot of people say you don't realize till you leave New York and you're like, whoa, when did I become this much better? There's a huge girls club here as well. Massive girls club. I'll tell you one thing, I've never felt my gender here till now. I felt brown, but I've never felt female.
hello and welcome to the DeadAnt ChatRoom. This is your host Bhanuj Kapil, and joining us today all the way from New York is Kaneez Surka. Welcome to the show, Kaneez.
Hey, thanks Bhanuj. Thanks for having me, guys.
So you moved to New York earlier this year, I think?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of confusion around that. No one really knows. Has she moved? Has she not? Like, I haven't really made an official announcement, I don't think.
But what was the plan? Were you just sick of Bombay traffic, or was there do you have other plans?
Trust me, by the way, if you come to America, it's a third world country. I just want to let everyone know. It's so not what I thought it was going to be. It's more third world than first world for sure. I was like, what have I come to? No, but the plan was, it's a good question. What was the plan, Kaneez? No, the thing is, I've been working on getting this visa for 3 years. And I think for me, I felt like the language started becoming a bit of an issue for me in India. In terms of, I can see the shift in comedy towards Hindi and regional languages. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to hit a ceiling very soon if I haven't already. I felt like I did everything I could in India. And I was like, it feels like it's time to move on. And honestly, the only places I could think of moving on to for comedy was either England or New York. And New York was a place I've always wanted to live in. So I picked this one.
I mean, looking at the news over the last month and a half, aren't you glad you didn't pick the UK?
Yeah, exactly. That's also it's small and it's messy.
So you grew up in South Africa, and I believe you were in Cape Town over the summer as well. What are, for you, the best and worst parts of all these three cities? And who comes out first? Who ranks on top?
Hey, don't ask me that question. Bombay, the other day I was feeling homesick. I was like, I feel homesick. And then I was like, but I don't know for which home. I don't know which home I feel sick for. The thing with Bombay is I feel like Bombay has my friends. South Africa has my family. And now New York has my future. Wow, kya baat hai.
That's a good line.
Ashirwad. No, I think, sorry, not Ashirwad.
Even I'm blanking now. What? Not Adha.
What is that word? But I like all three cities. Cape Town, Mumbai, and New York. It's hard to say. Cape Town is definitely the most beautiful city. And it's beautiful. There's so much nature around. Mumbai and New York are a lot more grimy, grittier. There's a hustle, there's an energy in the air. Cape Town's super laid back. But yeah, I honestly, I can't pick, to be honest. Maybe Mumbai comes in a little higher than everything else.
Yeah, that's what you tell to the Bombay people.
Yeah. If this was an American interview, I'd be like, New York.
And you've been there 6 months or a little longer maybe. And you already got, it seems like a close friend and a partner in comedy. And you've done a 5-episode mini-series as well. So
yes.
Was this stuff already in motion before you moved, or is this just stuff that happened?
No, again, you asked me what the plan was. I really didn't have a plan. I was like, I'm just going to go there and wing it. And I got here and I met a bunch of comedians, and I was really good about going out every night and trying to do a spot and just hanging out at comedy clubs and meeting a whole bunch of people. The girl I did this web series with, Subha Agrawal, I did meet her 5 years ago in New York, but we didn't stay in touch. I just met her randomly at a show. And then when I got here, I met her at a show and we kind of just connected immediately. And we were like, let's do something together. And she's like, yes. And then she's so incredible. She's the hardest working person I've ever seen in my life. I remember when I was in India, I heard this story about this girl in New York who would hit like about 5 to 6 open mics a day, starting from 2 p.m. till like 11, till like midnight. There was this Indian comedian who hit every single open mic. And I remember hearing about this person being like, wow. And then when I came here, I realized it was Subha. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, I wrote this web series with her. We kind of just within I thought it would take like 6-7 months. Within like 2 months, we'd finish writing and recording it. And then, yeah, the idea is just to make stuff. Like you get into a habit of making things. And I realized those are the people who are successful are the people who do things. Like they just do things. They do lots of things and then one of them will stick. And I think that's my game plan.
So do you want to tell us a bit about the show? It's on YouTube, so everyone can go see it.
Yes, it's called Downward Mango. It's about two women and basically their sexcapades, two friends and their sexcapades in New York. And I really enjoyed making it because it's always something I wanted to make, but didn't feel like I could in India with the kind of with the abandonment, with abandon, I did make it here. I felt like I could really just go into. In general, I feel very liberated doing comedy in New York. So even with the web series, even my stand-up, I just feel like I could just go into spaces that I maybe didn't give myself permission to go to in India. And now that I'm in a new place, I'm just exploring so many new topics and ideas.
Sex, intimacy, and dating, and this is stuff that you've been talking about and working around for quite a while. There's Cupid Kaneez. There was the Bumble podcast, Dating These Days. There's Downward Mango. So is this something like that you find particularly engaging to work in?
Totally. Anything around love, dating, sex is very much on brand with me. And like I said, over here, I get to really, people say anything. They don't sugarcoat it. They don't soften it. They don't buffer it. They just say it as it is, They're like, so the other day I was eating ass and I'm like, whoa, okay. It's just, and everyone's talking like that. And it's like, great. I can just really explore really fun ideas around dating and sex here.
And I guess if you're not concerned about, say, breaking the taboo, that allows you to explore maybe parts of this that you wouldn't have in India.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if it's India or if it was just the way I felt in India. I can't tell. But I definitely didn't feel like I could do what I'm doing here. Maybe it's also just the fact that I'm in a new place. And I just feel, that could also be part of it.
You've also got a new stand-up solo show called I Found My People.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm really excited. It's for the New York Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
I'm working with the New York Comedy Club and they submitted this show for me. And it's the first time I'm ever doing a solo show. And I'm doing it for the New York Comedy Club the New York Comedy Festival. I'm like, I should have chosen a lower risk platform to do this on. But I am really excited. It's a 1-hour show. It's a 90-minute show. But I really do want to make it a Kaneez show. And I know in the festival, people do get to experiment a lot with formats. And I also just generally want to, I've always had such a block towards stand-up the way it's done. And I always freak out about, I have to do it 1 hour or this or this. And I was like, I can just make this show my show. I'm going to showcase what Kaneez is best at. So I've got 3 friends who are going to be on the show. They're going to be doing 8 minutes each. And it's called I Found My People. And I'm hosting my own show. Because usually the format, at least here, it's you'll get an opener, a feature, and then a headliner. And I was like, I don't feel like being the guest of honor at my own party. So I'm going to welcome everyone to my party. So I'm going to be hosting my own show. I'm going to be doing 15 minutes, get a friend up, 15 minutes, get a friend up, 15 minutes, get a friend up. And then I'm going to close the show with a round, just one round of the Journal Fun game show.
Okay, that sounds fun.
I'm going to ask them questions, the comedians, questions about all the jokes I just did. And I know they would not have been listening. They would have been sitting at the bar outside. So I'll be like, aha, I got you.
And so like you said, you reached where you think you could reach in India. But going to New York is, if not completely, then to a certain level, you are starting afresh. and it's a much bigger, much more competitive scene. So how has that experience been?
It's been, I've really been hustling and I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, I didn't expect it to be easy. I knew it was going to be hard. I know the comedy industry in America is very saturated and you have to come out, I believe, like you have to be a very unique voice to stand out in this country. Luckily, being brown, luckily having the background I do, where I'm coming from South Africa and India, and I'm just this hybrid of these two cultures, it definitely does pique everyone's interest. And then luckily I have credits to my name, which really helps getting into doors. I don't know. I wasn't expecting to be anywhere at this point. I didn't have any specific goals, but by the end of the year, I'll have to achieve this and done this. But I think I'm on the right track. I think I'm doing all the right things, but I think it'll take time for me to establish myself here. And it's hard. And I didn't expect it to be easy. But I think I'm doing all the right things. I don't know what more I could do. Yeah.
And in terms of the comedy community there, the people there, have they been welcoming? Like, I assume they have because you found your people. But
yeah, well, the show isn't about, that's the thing. Like, it feels like I found my people here. That's not true. Like, I realized I've already found my people everywhere. They've been very welcoming. It's been really lovely. I've had a lot of, like, a big part of me as a person is I like being part of a community. I like building my community around comedy. That's really important for me. Otherwise, I find it very boring and lonely. I like collaborating. I like being around comedians, best friends with them, dating them. Like my whole life is around comedy. But it's been really nice. I also did come here. I did have some friends before I moved here. There's a group of 4 Desi boys. They came to India and they did a show in 2019 and at the Habitat, Lingon Mitra, Akash Singh, Tushar Singh, and Kunal Arora. And so I did know them really well because back and forth we would keep meeting.
Yeah.
So when I came here, I did already have like people who were rooting for me. That really helped a lot.
And you also had some people from India visiting.
Swara came. I know she's not a comedian, but like a lot of people visit. The nice thing about New York is a lot of people visit here. The nice thing, and like, how many people to meet? I'm kidding. No, I'm very happy that my friends keep coming in.
Apart from your first solo show at the New York Comedy Festival and a YouTube sitcom, what have you got in the works for the next few months? So what are you most excited about that you can reveal to us right now?
I'm excited about coming back. Oh no, should I say this? I want it to be a surprise, but I'm coming back to India in December.
Well, you heard it here first.
No, but I want to shoot some General Fun Game Show episodes.
Oh, that should be fun, yeah.
Yeah. I think also what I realized was when I was here, I was like, when I first moved here, it was very like, what am I doing in New York? And then I was like, and now like 6 months later, I'm like, I also still have like everything in India. It's not like I lost any of that. And now to kind of build both worlds is what I'm working on. I completely needed like 6 months to delve into this comedy industry. But yes, I mean, I can't reveal anything, but I love producing IPs, nonfiction IPs. So I'm working on that as well. And then talking to people about selling those IPs. But apart from that, just working on my stand-up a lot. I want to do a tour next year. I'm planning a tour for like smaller rooms. Like I can't sell out like these, like a lot of other comedians, like these massive theaters. But I'm planning like a 10-city tour around America to like 100 to 200 seater rooms. And I'm really, really excited about that. I feel like it's the first time I have like a show that I can travel with. So now I'm really excited to get this tour in motion and then bring it to India and continue doing. I realized one thing that I really want to work on is my craft here. While I'm in the business of comedy and I obviously have to make money, I do want to just get better at my craft. I think that will automatically send good stuff my way.
Yeah, and I think being in the middle of such a competitive scene is really good.
Yes.
Really good.
I think so. Like New York is like a gym. It's like a comedy gym. Like you just, and a lot of people say you don't realize till you leave New York and you're like, whoa, when did this when did I become this much better? So let's see if that happens. I don't know. I haven't performed outside New York much.
So what's the favorite venue that you've performed at?
I don't know if it's a venue, but I really enjoyed performing at the very big, very Asian comedy show, the very big, very Asian comedy festival. I remember that being my best set. Surprisingly, like I love performing to an Asian crowd, not an Indian crowd, like an Indian crowd, of course, and even an Asian crowd, like again, they get a lot of the nuances, but I'm not them. So I really enjoy performing to Asian crowds. And I remember that set at Broadway Comedy Club just going really well. Actually, a lot of my sets at Broadway Comedy Club have gone really well. So, yeah.
And we've been talking a lot about like how New York is as a comedian, but as a consumer of comedy, how exciting is it to be there?
Oh, I mean, yeah. There's a lot of comedy. So it's not all good. There's like good comedy, and then there's not so good comedy. But it's just I feel like the world is very, like, for instance, like you'll just go to the cellar and you'll just meet like Ray Romano, and he's just done a set and he's like writing a new bit, and then you'll talk to him about his new bit. But like when it comes to comedy, it's very like everyone's just talking to each other about comedy. Everyone cares about comedy. And people are just there for, like, the comedians are there, like, even as a consumer of comedy, like, yeah, everyone's there for comedy and no one's judging you.
So it's an egalitarian space.
Yes, that's the word, egalitarian space. But like, if you love comedy and you're doing it well and you're hustling and you're doing the work, like, people are happy to talk to you and discuss comedy, and you can watch shows and you can get into clubs for free as a comedian here and just watch any show you want to. Yeah, if you go to a comedy club and you say, I'm a comedian, they're like, okay, like, that's how it works here. That's really cool.
And is it a boys' club there too?
It's so funny. Someone asked me this question yesterday. Maybe it is. I don't know yet. I've only been here for 6 months. But I'll tell you one thing, like, there's a huge girls club here as well. Massive girls club. There are so many female comedians here. It is so lovely. Like, apart from these 4 guys who I knew from before, all my other friends are just female comedians. And it's lovely. Like, it's so awesome. I've like, of course I had female friends. Of course I had my Prashasti, Uruj, Sumukhi, Prashasti, like all of them in Mumbai. But over here, it's just, there's so many. And they're feisty girls. I'll tell you one thing, I've never felt my gender here till now. I felt brown, but I've never felt female. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I've never thought about my gender when I get up on stage. It just doesn't cross my mind.
But before we go, do you have like any tips on, for any comedians who are looking to maybe uproots and go across the world to try and make it into the New York comedy scene?
So like I did mention that I had those 4 friends, but even though I had them, they got me a few shows, but I also, like, once you start doing more shows, you meet more comedians. If they like what you do, they'll just invite you onto shows. I know, like, it does help a lot that I have a verified account and I have a Netflix special and Amazon and stuff. And so when I message people, they automatically, they'll see, my name. But what happened was, when I first got here, within 1 week, a really awesome comedian named Jared Waters gave me a list of all the independently run comedy shows in the city. And I just blasted a message from my Instagram to every single one of them, saying that I'm, from India and I've moved here and that I'd love to do a show. And that really got it rolling. We call it the Swamp List. It's called the Swamp List here in the city. If anyone ever comes to New York, and to do comedy, I can always share that list with you. And you can just blast it. You can just message everybody. Like, that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, really, people just get in touch over Instagram. They like find out like which shows are happening and message the clubs on Instagram. Like, you never know who might reach out. But I know that's with the way people are communicating in the city when they're trying to get shows, is over Instagram message.
Yeah. It's an obvious thing that most people forget, but like cold call.
I was literally just knocking at doors, literally. And now, like, I'll slowly get into the clubs, and I got into Broadway Club. That's the thing here, like, you get into clubs here. So I'm doing a residency at Broadway Club, and I'm doing my show at the New York Comedy Club, and I go to the Grizzly Pear in West Village a lot. And so eventually you just start becoming part of, like, the more shows you do, then and you just got to grind, you just got to be there out every night, even if you're just hanging around other comedy shows. But like for the first 4 months, I was out every single night. And I plan to get back to it when I come back.
And that's all the time we have today. But thank you so much, Kaneez. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really cool talking about this. You made me realize I haven't done much yet. No, I'm really excited to see what I do. You know what? Thank you for having me. That's all I had to say. Thank you for having me.